Make sure that the right cameras and macro. This morning is the 17th day of the month of Elul, and Baruch Hashem, we have the schus of learning Daf Chaf Zayin Amud Beis of Maseches Pesachim, and we'll make sure that everybody has the link here, so everyone can follow along. There we go. Okay. We left off 5 lines from the bottom on Daf Chav Zayin Amud Aleph, where the Gemara had told us, quoting from the second piece of that brisa, that everybody agrees that if you were to cook the bake your pastel, cook something on top of gechalim that were made from orla wood that was charred and turned into coal, that the bread would then be mutter. Says the Gemara of Yehuda and Shmuel, Rabbi Chia bar Ashi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. They all said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, but somewhat differently. Chad Amar lo yishanu ele gechalim omimus. One opinion is that lo yishanu ele gechalim omimus, that they only taught that this that this is correct if the coals were not smoldering, but they were already charred and burnt off, meaning that it was pretty much dying coals. Aval gechalim lo chashos, but if they were sparking, if they were still burning hot, asurim, then it would be asur. The Chad Amar one said, even if the coals are still burning hot, it would be mutter. Says the Gemara, asurim. It makes sense if you're going to say that the really hot coals are going to be asur. Mishum the yeshavach eitzim and pas, because then there's the benefit of the eitzim of the orla wood that has gone into the pas. But according to the opinion that says that if they are still really, really hot, they're mutter, pas the aser, the yesh shavach eitzim and pas. Then the bread, which is aser, because there is shavach eitzim and pas, the Rebbe, according to Rebbe, how would you find such a case? Meaning, where would you ever find the situation that there would be shevach eitzim in the past that would say that it's also according to the opinion of Rabbi? Amar Papa kshavuka connected. No, that would be when there is a flame. So you have burnt off coals, you have flaming hot coals, and you actually have flames. That would be kshavuka kenegdoi. Rashi says keneged pas mavir haitzim befi hatar. By the mouth of the oven, there are still flames that are coming up, and the bread is baking as a result of that. Says the Gemara top of Chav Zayin Amud Beis Mechalad Rabbanan Pligi Alei. If that's true, that would imply that according to the Rabbanan that disagree with the opinion of Rabbi, Sharu Afilu Kshavuka Keneta, then they, who are more makil in this case, are going to say that even if there is flaming orla wood, that the bread is going to be mutter, because Rabbi is the one that's going to be machmer. Ella itzim di isur l'Rabbanan heicha mishkachas. So where will you ever find itzim di isur? She says the mitzri bahana l'Rabbanan that are going to be asa bahana according to the Rabbanan heicha mishkachas. Are you ever going to find wood of orla that's going to be asa? So Amar Rabbi Ami bar Chama b'shar shifa. Yeah, of course you are. If you're not using the wood as fuel, but if you were using it to make a chair, a bench, that would be that would certainly be a inappropriate also usage of wood. Not that it's burnt off; it's not shevach eitzim. That's using the eitzim itself. Says the Gemara as follows. Bamini Rami bar Chama me Rav Chisda Rav Chama asked the question from Rav Chisda Tana sheisika be'itzei hektish. So far, we've been talking about the isurim of Ashira and of Orla. What happens if you lit a fire with wood that is hekdesh, meaning it belongs to the Beis Hamikdash? Va'afa by hapas, and then you bake bread with it. L'Rabbanan, according to the Rabbanan, the shar b'kamaisa that said that it was mutter in the first case. So that said that if it was Orla wood, that would be okay. What would the din be? Rebbe would say that it's Aser. But according to the Rabbanan, what would they say? Amalei says, Apas Asur, that's going to be Aser. It's Aser. So says the Gemara, hold on, Uma bein Zula Arla. But what's the difference between this and Arla? The Rabbanan were Mekel, they said that it's mutter in the case of Arla, but they're going to say that it's Aser in the case of Hekdesh. Why? Amar Rava says, Hachi Hashta Orla betela b'matayim. Hekdesh afilu be'alaf le'batel. What's the difference between Orla and Hekdesh? Is that Orla, if you have 1 drop of Orla in 200 of something else, that item is going to be mutter, meaning there is a din of bittul when it comes to Orla. But Hekdesh is never going to be mutter. Afilu be'alaf le'batel. It's never ever going to be have the rules of bittul apply to it. Says the Gemara. Ela Amar Rava says, "I kashale." If there is a shaila to ask, ha kasha. This is the shaila to ask. V'halai ma'al hamasik. The guy that has burnt these hektish woods has violated the isur of meila, meaning he has stolen from temple property. That's an isur deraisa of meila. Ma'al hamasik. The ma'al hamasik, and any time that you have meila, nafku lehu lechulin. These things are now no longer hekdesh; they are chulin, meaning that he now owes the Beis Hamikdash for stealing, and he has violated the Issa Deraisa. He has to pay back. But this is no longer Eitzei hekdesh. It's no longer the wood of hekdesh. This is now the wood of chulin. Amar of Papa. So Papa says, hold on a second. Here we are dealing with the wood of a karban shlamim. Va'aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. And according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar, Rabbi Yehuda says, Hekdesh b'shoygeg mischalal. Hekdesh can become chulin, can be downgraded, can be taken out of kodesh and made into chulin. Hekdesh can be made into chulin b'mezid, if it is done on b'shoygeg mischalal. Hekdesh can be made into chulin unintentionally. B'mezid, intentionally. What happens if a person were to downgrade hekdesh intentionally? Eina mischalal, it does not become chulin. Says the Gemara, hold on a second. B'mezid, my time aloi. Why is it that b'mezid you cannot make hekdesh into chulin? Says the Gemara, kevan delav bar meilahu, because you cannot you cannot be chayv for meila by doing it b'mezid. Loy nafig lechulin, and it cannot become chulin b'mezid. Shlamim nami, and likewise with regards to the wood of a shlamim, given the lav bar meilu ninhu, since it is not something that a person would be chayv for meila if they did it intentionally. Loy nafig lechulin, it would not become chulin. And that's his defense, that's Rav Papa's defense against Rava. He says that it still has the status of kachim, even though the guy has burnt it. Because just like the Atzei Shlamim, according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, they cannot become chulin as a result of intentionally using it for something else, so to these, that's the wood that we're talking about here. Says the Gemara, hold on a second. And any time that you did meila, any time that the person that is burning the wood has violated the Isra meila, nafke l'chulin, they become chulin. V'hatanya, didn't we learn kol ha-nisrafin, anything that the Torah says you have to burn, meaning all things that you are chayv to burn. For example, chametz on Erev Pesach or noisar, afron mutter, their ashes are mutter. Chutz me'atzei ashera, aside from the atzei ashera, the wood of an ashera tree, ve'efer hekdesh la'olam asr. And hektish ashes are always going to be asr. They never ever become mutter. Amar Rabbi Bar Chama kegoyin shenafla deleka me'ela. Nah, we're not talking about a situation that a person either did it b'shoigig or did it b'mezid. No, maybe the situation is here that a fire happened to these atzei hektish all by themselves, meaning a fire broke out, and now there's the smoldering fire that's going on, and nobody's liable for it. Deleka anish de nim ol with an eye, that there's nobody here that has done me'ila. Rishmaya Amar Rishmaya says, "Ba'osin shitu unim geniza." It refers to all of the ashes that need to be that need to be hidden away. We spoke about a few days ago the mitzvah of Trumas Hadeshin. The Trumas Hadeshin is that once the Beis Hamikdash ashes at the top of the mizbech have concluded burning for the night. So the first mitzvah every morning was that the kohen would come, he would do Trumas Hadeshin, and he would take the ashes that were on top of the mizbech and put them next to the mizbech, and that required you to hide them next to the mizbech so that they didn't scatter around and they didn't come into inappropriate usage. Titania, as we learned in the Brisa, v'samai etzel mizbach Hashem lekacha, v'samai, you have to place them benachas, gently. V'samai, and he will place them kulai, all of it. V'samai shalai yifazar, and he has to put it there so that it does not that it doesn't get lost. And that is how we conclude that the came to the case of where the Rabbanan would say that it would be that it would be usher. It would be usher that even if a fire broke out completely all by itself and there was pas that was baked as a result of that, the Rabbanan would say that that is usher. Okay. We are now back in the understanding of the Mishnah, halfway through Chav Zayin Amud Beis, where the Gemara finally gets back to the comment of Rabbi Yehuda of Ein Bir Ela Sreifa. Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that the only way of getting rid of your chametz in Erev Pesach is to burn it. Tanya, the Brisa says as follows: Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda, Ein Bir Chametz Ela Sreifa. The only way to get rid of your chametz is through destroying it. With burning. Vehadin noisin, and it makes sense. Noisar leftover korban that doesn't have the prohibition of bal yira bal yimatzeh of seeing it, of owning it, of holding it in your possession, which we mentioned many times at the beginning of the Masech. Bal yira doesn't mean the issue of seeing it; it means not to have it in your possession, in your rishus. So. Noisa does not have the prohibition of bal yira bal yimatzeh tan shreifa, and it needs to be burnt. Chametz sheyesh bal yira bal yimatzeh, chametz which does have the issue bal yira bal yimatzeh, lo kol sheken, does not make all the more sense. Shetan shreifa, that it requires burning. Amrullah, they said to him, kol din she'ata dan tchilas lahachmir v'seif lahakel ene din. Any time that you have a kal v'chomer, where the tchilas is lahachmer, the first din is machmer, v'sefer lahakel, and the second din is to be mekel in a din. That's not a good kal v'chomer. Loi matzah etzim l'sarfa, because what happens here? What happens if you didn't find any wood to burn it? You're yoshev v'batel. You're going to sit around. You're going to do nothing. That you have to get rid of the sorrow from your house. In any way that you have to get rid of it means what's going to come out in Bir Chametz Ela Sreifa Erev Pesach. You're going to be looking for wood. I can't find any wood to burn, so okay, no problem. I'm just not going to destroy my chametz. I'm going to be over on the mitzvah deraisa. Chazar Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda said, okay, yeah, you're right, 100%, and he retracted his opinion. V'dane din acher, and he put forth the following suggestion. Noisar also be'achila. Noisar is also with achila. One is not allowed to eat noisar, not allowed to eat a leftover korban. The chametz also be'achila, and chametz is also be'achila. You're not allowed to eat chametz on Pesach. Ma noisar b'shreifa, just like noisar has to be b'shreifa, has to be burnt. Av chametz b'shreifa, so too chametz needs to be burnt. This is not a kal v'chomer. What's this argument? This is a hekesh. It's a comparison. It's not a kal v'chomer. So you cannot apply the din of a kula resulting from the kal v'chomer. Amr, they said to him, nevela techech. Well, yeah, if you're going to be comparing things, it's not a kal v'chomer, it's a hekesh. So then nevela techech, then the din of nevela will provide ample proof here. Sha'asura be'achila, that nevela is asur be'achila. You're not allowed to eat an avela. Shreifa. Nobody ever said that you need to do shreifa. In fact, the Torah tells you by nevela that that you can sell it to a nachri, you can give it to a ger. Amar lahen, he said to them, he said, hefresh, there is a difference. Noiser also be'achila uvehana. Noiser is also both be'achila and hana. You're not allowed to eat it, you're not allowed to get benefit from it. V'chametz also be'achila uvehana. Chametz is also in both achila and hana. Ma noiser ton shreifa, just like noiser requires shreifa, av chametz ton shreifa. Meaning, there is, you want to compare it to nevela, you can't compare it to nevela. Nevela is not the same kind of animal, right? Nevela doesn't have an Isser Hana. In fact, the Torah tells you that you are allowed to give it to someone else. But Chametz does have an Isser Hana, and therefore we should be able to compare that to Noser. Amrullah, they said to him, Shar Haniskal Yechech, that a Shar Haniskal, an ox that needs to be put to death by the Beis Din, that will prove it is also in both Achila Uvahana, Ve'enas Ton Shreifa, and you are not required to burn the Shar Haniskal. Amar lahem, he said to them, Hefresh, there is a difference. Noiser also ba'achilu v'hana. Noiser is also achilu and hana va'anish kares, and you are liable for a chiyuv kares for eating chametz. So for eating noiser, and likewise with chametz. For chametz also ba'achilu v'hana va'anish kares. Ma noiser b'shreifa, av chametz b'shreifa. So to noiser and chametz should be compared to each other. They said to him, Amrulai, they said, the chalev of the Shar Haniskal should be able to provide you with a refutation. Because the chalev of the Shar Haniskal does have an onish karis. Also, ve'achilu v'hana v'onish karis ve'ein ta'an shreifa. It does not need to be burnt, meaning even the chalev, the forbidden fats of the Shar Haniskal do not require burning. And we will continue on the Chaf Ches Amud Aleph tomorrow morning. Have a marvelous day.